Aloha, y'all. It is a little chilly where I am, so I'm bundling. Today is Friday, ruled by Freya, Freya's Day, the 23rd of October. It is officially Scorpio season, so welcome to that. Friday, 23rd is Solar Plexus Chakra Day, so if you're going to be doing chakra work, be working on your Manipura chakra, your solar plexus. This is about the fire of the willpower. Do mudras, mantras, focus, do all the chakras, but doing the Manipura or your solar plexus chakra, the third chakra up, will go a long way as it's resonant today. Today is a yellow cosmic star day guided by free will in the dream spell. So let me go ahead and tell you what that translates to overall. So, yellow today, like I said, yellow cosmic star, solar plexus chakra day, Friday, Freya's day. Yellow star tribe, beautifying elegance and art. The gift of your cosmic identity is to be an emissary of harmony, an agent of beautification, a witness of nature's majesty, a messenger of refinement and wholeness, a starseed of our ancient future, a keeper of the new octave. As a yellow star, you have the capacity to behold yourself as a planetary artist, every moment a new canvas to paint upon, to shine intentionally uplifting your outer environment with your inner light, to walk your life as an ever-unfolding mandala, to see beauty and wonder in all of nature's creations, to perceive every facet of our world as an opportunity for soulful interaction, to invoke grace and effortlessness to guide your journey, to express your own sense of the aesthetic, to consciously contribute coherence and harmony to collective dynamics, to convey a higher octave of stellar consciousness to the planetary whole, to sculpt your reality with intention, knowing every thought, word, and action is coloring the art of your life. Time is art. Life is art. You are art. Cosmic Tone 13 is about endurance, transcendence, and presence. Tone 13, symbolized by the spiral, represents the dynamic of movement present in everything and by which everything is ever-changing and vivified by universal cosmic life force. The gift of your cosmic identity is to access the power of an omnipresence. Activate your cosmic powers by being a disciple of the present moment, by cultivating your capacities to be wakeful and receptive to each new now, by going beyond the rational mind and letting yourself think with the ancient heart, by being conscious of your continuum. I almost said quantum. By being conscious of your continuum while still living in the moment, by learning to ride the spiral, ascending to higher levels of being, by allowing your cosmic spirit to carry you through the many journeys of trial and triumph that this life has to offer, by transcending fears of the future, by transcending regrets of the past, by transcending the limits of linear time and synchronizing with the radial flow of synchronic reality, by recognizing us all to be but ever-evolving children of an ever-unfolding cosmos. So, yellow cosmic star's galactic affirmation is, I endure in order to beautify. Transcending art, I seal the store of elegance with the cosmic tone of presence, and I'm guided by the power of free will. Let's go ahead and pull some cards. Sun is in Scorpio, the moon is in Aquarius, Mercury is in Scorpio, Mars is in Aries in retrograde, Mercury is also in retrograde, and Venus is in Virgo. So let's see what we got today. Hopefully you're all doing well. Let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to do that kind of survey, Double Gemini Life. I'm like, where are you all at? Where's the party? Where's consciousness viewing consciousness from? That kind of thing. And it is a Friday, Freya's Day, day of beautification. Five of Cups. This is a rather heavy card, especially having watched the debate last night and gone through some of my own catharsis independently of that. Five of Cups is coming up. I am inconsolable. The Five of Cups is hope is not gone, which is great because yesterday I was in a real weird funk. Allow yourself to grieve what is spilled. Give in to the grief and work through it. I am inconsolable. The Five of Cups. The Swiss-American psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross was a pioneer in research on near-death experiences in the process of grief. She postulated the 5 stages of grief. Denial, this can't be happening. Anger, why me? It's not fair. Bargaining, if only then I would. And depression, why go on? And then finally acceptance, it's going to be okay. Towards the end of her own life, she said the stages were not always a linear, predictable progression. This opened the door for us to understand grief as a process which unfolds across time. Ultimately, the process travels across different emotional topographies that must make their full journey in order to reach the land of acceptance and integration. In the Five of Cups, a distraught yet almost indistinguishable figure crouches by the river, watching as a hand desperately reaches out from the rushing torrent as it's swept away. Five of Cups, 5 stages, must be consumed in order to move on. Haley, talk about a sync there. 5 people watching, more resonators. Things must be consumed in order to move on. 3 cups hold red inflammation. 1 stands empty with feelings of emptiness and meaninglessness, and the last cup holds hope, a return to the heart. For this card to have impact, one does not have to be dealing with something catastrophic. It points to the fact that we all carry tremendous grief, ancestral grief, family grief, cultural grief, grief for our loss of innocence. We all live out the 5 stages of grief in numerous ways. A dream job we have worked so hard for falls through. A relationship breaks up. Children leave home. No one passes through life untouched by grief and loss. Grief is part of the natural cycle of life, and we can stop fighting against it and allow ourselves to feel what needs to be felt. Tarot offers us an opportunity to see ourselves through different eyes, to see what needs to be questioned, healed, and released. It offers us new vistas to move towards and explore. As with the Four of Cups, we have the capacity to create a new context or a viewpoint through which we can explore our pains and discomforts. We can transform them into something wondrous. Byron Katie's system, The Work, offers a way of questioning and releasing the painful stories we inhabit, stepping into the open freedom that is our true, radiant, untarnished self. The Five of Cups took me down my own grief, to my own deep grief, rather. The loss of loved ones, the failures, the hard times I put my family through with relentless pursuits of creative dreams. The fast-flowing river in the card has more than one meaning or possibility. Of course, we can be swept away by the river of tears, but we can also be cleansed by it. We can put right what we can and let go of our grief. Let it be taken back into the great ocean of life. For me, this card does not point to the arrival of some form of grief, for it has already arrived and we carry it in ourselves. Instead, it presents a question and a powerful possibility. It asks you to look at the grief you hold on to. It invites you to complete with it and let it go. Letting life, nature, take care of transmuting it back into vitus or energy. Five of Cups. Hope is not gone, allowing yourself to grieve what is spilled and giving into the grief and working through it. Sometimes you can't fight it, and if you just got to kind of roll with the punches and accept reality as it stands, it might not feel good, right? But the hope is not gone. Sometimes we got to cry quite a bit. We're all going through various, whether it's politically, personally, cosmically, like we're all going through a lot of acceptance. Those are stages of grief, denial, trying to barter, all these things. At some point, we just have to kind of stop fighting life and flow into it. And when we do that, it will be very helpful, proper, peaceful, right? An analogy I tend to use a lot is Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. He was very full of grief and sadness and hopelessness because he wasn't fulfilling what he thought was his destiny. He was holding on to an attachment of an idea or a belief. Whether it was true or not is not even the point. But the point is, once he came to a level of peace with it in the ocean, when he struggled and struggled, he was feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm inconsolable. No one understands me. I'm going to drink and drug, and oh my God, I fucking hate life. And he came to a point of release into the process, and the process made him born again. It rebirthed him, like he emerged a new man, right? So we've got the Five of Air. Wow, this other thing got really bright, so I got to change the coloring. Where is the book for? There it is. Dreams of Gaia. Sorry. I was like, I can't read the description if I don't have it. Five of Air as the clarifier on this first day of Scorpio season. Shout out to all the Scorpios in the house. My fiance has a moon and moon in first house Scorpio, rising Scorpio. So Scorpios, also Mars and Uranus in Scorpio. So we're going into the winter in the northern hemisphere, right? The dark times. Five of Air is about illusion, reality, separation, self-sabotage, self-deception, criticism, conditioning, and healing. Key phrase is a conflict between reality and belief. It's time for honesty, letting go of illusion and pretense, facing a painful reality, which is really what the Five of Cups is all about. It's like, basically, and good call. I'm not even paying attention. Yeah, two fives, right? Bada bing, bada boom. Two fives equaling 10. 10 is October. Here we go. But with the Five of Cups, it's about release, right? And being real, letting go of illusion and pretense, letting go of hopelessness. That's an illusion ultimately. Facing a painful reality, that is what the Five of Cups is all about. You are not alone. Hope is not gone, right? Advice and constructive criticism are not a personal attack. Haley and my brother can relate to this. Last night they were constructively criticizing a decision I had made, which I learned from, and I'm glad I did, but at the same time, not going to repeat that pattern indefinitely. Drop the mask, reveal your true self. And with the Mercury and the Sun now in Scorpio, it's about masks, deception, right? How are we hiding? And this is about talking about that openly. And maybe we're hiding because of grief and pain, and we're trying to protect ourselves. And it seems there's times for that. Sometimes we need to protect ourselves and shell up and put on the armor, but sometimes, the warrior has to come home and take off that armor and sit by the fire and warm their bones. Forgive others for wearing their masks, right? So you have a mask, I have a mask. Nobody's devoid of masks. Anybody who says I don't have a mask, that's a mask, right? So we got to be careful. Meaning the Five of Air represents a conflict between what is real and what is believed. With the moon in Aquarius, we can come to a very high level of emotional integrity, an awareness and an understanding from a high vantage point, like an emotionally detached kind of thing. And we might be able to look at what our traumas, the suffering, and maybe some of the taboo things that have happened in our lives that cause us to do the things that make us coping skills, right? Scorpio season is about deep psychological and spiritual work. It's the dive in deep time. So the Five of Air represents a conflict between what is real and what is believed. It addresses a need for honesty and the courage to let go of self-deception that is being held on to in order to hide and protect from a painful reality, right? This painful reality may be one we choose to deny, but even so, its influence can still create dissonance in our lives and work in a corrosive manner that gives rise to conflicted thoughts, a desire to avoid and procrastinate, and eventual self-sabotaging of our creative endeavors. I totally feel this. It's like, I think in a lot of ways, I feel like I've missed a lot of opportunities, and I'm not going to get into like woe is me shit, but it's like, in order to cope with that, I've drugged and drunk and avoided and traveled and talked as a double Gemini, right? So I need to like kind of get to the point and be like, I can grieve my failures and I can accept them. There's some spilled cups, right? I don't have to go too much into my thing. I was going on a very certain trajectory, and I had a nervous breakdown in my senior year of high school. It had a lot to do with Kundalini awakening, but I just wasn't able to. It took me a while to recover from that, and then it turned into like, well, I'm behind, and I'm gonna just drug and drink, and no one understands me. Very Moon in Aquarius, where it's like I'm an alien and I don't understand myself. Right? It's a double Gemini, 11th house, Sun and Moon. Very Aquarian. Anyway, so now it's time to kind of go to the bottom of that pain. Scorpio Sun and Mercury. Even though it's in retrograde, it's time to take off the mask and look at what's behind that mask, however painful that might be. I'm just giving myself as an example here, obviously. It can also manifest into a desire to withdraw and separate ourselves from those who love us. The symptoms to look for are low self-esteem, a disparaging inner voice, and an inability to handle criticism, as it only serves to reinforce a low opinion that is already held. I can ask my brother about that sometime. I've come a long way, but I used to be very, I lived and died on criticisms, and I'm very critical myself. Getting over that is something I've got to do. Even simple advice and constructive criticism that are offered to help improve or fix something that is in need of further work is perceived to be an attack and is responded to with hurt or anger. Very Scorpio Sun, right? Where it's like, I'm on defense. I've got to protect myself. And anything you say, I'm looking at as a weapon against me, and I'm going to fight you. Like that could be the shadow of Scorpio. Very self-protective, right? Very kind of reclusive in that way, hidden. When this happens repeatedly, others may become reluctant to speak up even when there is a real and genuine need. This reluctance is noticed and feeds the anxiety. So when people withdraw and stop being authentic and coming to you, you think they don't care, and then it feeds that Ouroboros loop of what? Hopelessness, grief, inconsolability, Five of Cups. Like we're doing this collectively right now. So and I am individually for sure. So here we go. As a result of this inability to take advice of any kind and see it for what it is, care and love, conflict, mistakes, and outright failure become common occurrences, which in turn make us believe even more that we will never succeed. It's that feedback loop of failure, right? Not a good look. That's why a lot of people drink. That's why a lot of people drug. That's why a lot of people get on Instagram and try to find validation through people they don't even know about, right? Things like that. Behind the mask, we fall victim to self-recrimination, judgment, and blame, and criticize ourselves in a manner that is neither objective nor constructive. And yet, despite everything, we try to put on a brave face and continue to smile. But it is a mask. The smile is the lie that hides disappointments, regrets, guilt, and the pain that we attempt to deny because we have been conditioned to suppress and repress our true thoughts and feelings. We have some serious feels we've got to get into, and it's okay. As a species, as a gender, as an individual, as an American, as a Westerner, and it's this time, right? Like, there's a lot of guilt. And there's a lot of things that are worth crying over, but we can't just put on a tough face and say, we've got to kind of take our masks off. And what a perfect card for the first day of Scorpio with the moon in Aquarius. It's like, can we be emotionally detached and objective enough, moon in Aquarius, to look at our dark side and get into our real nitty gritty, like, shadow? What we've been maybe putting masks on to avoid the whole time. The Five of Air card represents in your reading, in essence, a gentle intervention. Remove the mask of the blindfold from your eyes. Let go of the lie that all is okay and you are happy, and allow yourself to see that you need to address thoughts and beliefs that have you thinking poorly of yourself. It is time for you to see and face the inner demons that have you believing that you are not worthy of deserving success or happiness. Oof. A lot of us are guilty of this, I feel. Drop the mask and show your true self, wounds and all. Look at the damaging thoughts and beliefs, address their source, and give yourself an opportunity to heal. That's the whole point. The last stage is acceptance. When you accept who you are and what you've been through, you're not running from it, you're not trying to barter with it, you're not, all these things. Five of Cups is like, fuck, this is not ideal. And it's like, it's perfectly imperfect. Take a deep breath, look at it as it truly is. Peer deeply into the abyss and it will peer back at you. Sun in Scorpio. Mercury retro in Scorpio. And we're doing this for our health, guys. Venus is in Virgo. We're doing this for our health and each other's health, for the for the beautification and the betterment of the whole dream. If we don't do this, the cycles just repeat. And it doesn't, and it never moves forward, which is, it can be acceptable at a time, but we're in times right now where we're being pushed. The water's broken, and we're moving into a new aeon, and like, we can't be self-deluding anymore with masks or dealing with the masks of others, but we can't force them to rip off their masks only but so kindly, right? Drop the mask and show your true self, wounds and all. Look at the damaging thoughts and beliefs, address their source, and give yourself an opportunity to heal. Allow others to help you. You are not alone, and you are loved. Understand that the advice and constructive criticism others offer is not meant to limit and wound, but to help you heal and grow. And that might be a very hard thing to, with the moon in Aquarius and the sun in Scorpio, we might be very psychologically analytical, and right now is a time to do that without getting too emotionally, because like Scorpio's water sign, we can't be overwhelmed with the emotions. We have to like do the work. I'm talking to myself too now, right? Take off the masks. In Gemini, a double Gemini, I've got 4 masks. So it's like, I've got to really get down to the bottom of why I'm coping in the ways I do. What are my beliefs? What are my projections? I love Christianity. I'm still a Christian. It has the idea that I'm a sinner and broken and, staying on the, whatever, sinner in the hands of an angry God, that kind of thing. Has that caused me to have a certain subconscious guilt that is not helpful and ultimately not constructive? Or am I also buying into New Age things where like, everything is fine and everything's perfect, and I'm not addressing addictions, I'm not addressing, laziness, right? We got to kind of look at things with like in a real way right now. So don't be surprised if that's happening. And it's rather gloomy. I mean, it's I can't see the mountains behind me. They're covered in snow clouds. It's cold. It's supposed to get really cold and snow, like I think 27 degrees Monday. So winter's dipping her head in real hard where I live, and this feels rather appropriate for just kind of where the astrology is, for me at least. Birth and expansion, Lyra, number 13. So, what do we got here? 13, Lyra, birth and expansion, past timeline. As the Lyran civilization grew, it unleashed a tremendous amount of creative energy. There was so much excitement to build this new civilization and expand into the galaxy. It was a time of optimism, enthusiasm, and creative experimentation. This card reminds you of the ancient time you are a part of, and it encourages you once again to find that creative spark within you. Don't be afraid of your creativity. This has hit me square in the face. There were times when you were punished for it, but that reality has passed. It's time to release the karmic pattern of fearing your creativity and trust the universe to support it. You don't have to grieve any longer and feel hopeless with your power, right? You have to take off the masks of coping. We're all mad here, as they say in Alice in Wonderland. So do your thing and find your creative power. Because this refers to the time period of Lyran's past pioneering spirit and their commitment and enthusiasm to build physical reality that they desired, you might think this is a card that represents a focus on masculine energy. That isn't necessarily true. It refers even more deeply to the creative process of the Lyrans, which, when used in a healthy way, was a very balanced expression. Creativity can be used for service or for selfishness. In their journey to mature as a species, the Lyrans used this creativity in both ways, and they learned the lessons of selfishness when they made unconscious, self-serving choices. Just like the children or teenagers learned about the results of their choices, so did the Lyrans. If you have this card in your reading, look at the surrounding cards. If there's a theme of several cards that warn of ego traps, pay attention to your hidden process or pay attention to your hidden desires for your creative process. If the cards have a theme of nurturing your creative process or spiritual development, then you are encouraged to trust your creative process and take risks with it, even if you don't know where it will lead. Sometimes the beauty is in the mystery, and we feel inconsolable, and we're like, oh my God, I don't know where this is going. I do this all the time. I get, overwhelmed, essentially, and I have to take off that mask of fear. That fear is a coping skill that is actually prohibiting real creative growth, right? Birthing and expanding it through creativity. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the killer in general. It has a place to a point, but after a point, it's destructive. So we need to have a pioneering spirit, right, to birth and expand into new horizons of who we want to be, not just cry over spilled milk, not just like look at the past and say, I'm shit. Yes, the past happened. Learn from it and move on, right? Don't just be looking at the past mask of yourself. You have, you be present, be fully here. Ultimately, be born anew and expand into the ever unfolding thing that you are. That's the nature of the universe. That's what the consciousness does. That's consciousness, baby. So you can't avoid it. You can't, you can't avoid it. So it's better to kind of ride the wave well and accept it, as is the last stage of grief, acceptance. We've got 23 on the 23rd. Raven news. So a whole lot of things. 2 5s, right? And then we got number 23, the Raven, which is, I actually just saw on a raven yesterday on a house while I was walking the dog. It was very big and had something in its mouth. So this is also has something in its mouth. News. Keep your senses about you. News or a significant announcement is coming. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there's a lot of things coming out of the woodwork these days. So pay attention. Do not believe everything you hear unless it's from a reputable source. Fake news all day, right? Gather information and guidance before making decisions. We can stride through our other worlds, not just this one, in order to understand our nature. So you can meditate, you can alter your consciousness, you can do all sorts, shamanistic stuff. We can, to understand who we are, we can get different perspectives from varying levels. That's okay. Don't get stuck in thinking that's the only way to do it. So it's like, I have to smoke to feel good. It's like, do you? Mythos. Hugin and Munin are the two ravens of All-Father Odin. Hugin is Norse for thought, and Munin means memory. And 5 of Cups is looking over, memories. It's like, and how we think about our old selves, old situations, even if they're not that old, relatively recent. Every morning, Hugin and Munin leave the broad shoulders of Odin and fly out to observe and gather the news of the worlds. If there's anything very urgent, they fly back to tell Odin so he can take action. Otherwise, they come back to Odin at the end of the day and tell him what they have been witness to. Through these discussions and gathering of knowledge, Odin became the wisest of gods, knowing much lore and the ways of the worlds. This is very Aquarius and Moon right now, where it's like, I'm going to send out at a high level, this alien, disconnected Aquarian energy. I'm going to get a highest intellect view of things emotionally. I'm going to see the landscape, right? And I'm going to understand and process and make decisions and make actions. Scorpio Sun. It's like I'm going to be powerful with the mystery of life coming to me in informational ways. Mercury and Sun in Scorpio. Ravens are the stars of mythos that cross many cultures, including that of the First Nations of America, Celtic, Welsh, Siberian, and Mexican. Ravens are often characterized as being tricksters or information gatherers. The animal. The members of the Corvus genus are smart. Their brain size is large for their size, and they display complex problem-solving abilities, including working with tools. Ravens belong to a tiny percentage of animals that display displacement in their communication, which is the ability to disseminate about things that are not immediately present in the here and now. For example, they could transmit to other ravens about something out of sight that happened earlier. A single raven has been observed watching a wolf kill a deer. The raven went back to his home and communicated this to other ravens, and without the particular raven going back to kill that kill, the other ravens fly directly to the kill site. Moon in Aquarius. It's about exploring information intellectually with teams, gathering information for the group. Ravens also observe animals, and that was talking about a kill site, Sun in Scorpio. Ravens also observe animals that bury food for later consumption and steal from these hordes. Secret treasures, hidden things, Scorpio Sun, Mercury, right? It's like, I'm spying on you so I can make wise decisions, Sun in Scorpio, Moon in Aquarius. Furthermore, they have an awareness that this same thing could happen to them and will go to a lot of time and trouble to find places in which their own cash will be safe, as in they're very paranoid of being stolen from. They're very suspicious, very Sun and Scorpio energy, right? They are vigilant in case they themselves are being observed. So they're spies who know that other spies could be spying on them. Fascinating, huh? Ravens are incredibly fine mimics and very vocal with other ravens and animals. Domesticated ravens are able to mimic the speech of humans and understand human words. They are known for their jet black feathers, which have glossy iridescent blue sheen, and are one of the heaviest birds for their size. The common raven is one of the most long-lived birds, living often in the wild for 21 years. Raven magic. Raven magic, and in this case Norse satyr raven magic, is trance-like and news-gathering. Ravens here are used as magical messengers going between the worlds, gathering guidance and information. Going between the worlds, Scorpio Sun, very kind of like shamanistic magic stuff, to gather information, Aquarius Moon. If we think about Odin's process of sending his thoughts and memories out into the other worlds, then we could see the essence of a shamanic act of sending oneself out to the realms for guidance and healing. Raven energy is useful in divination of all kinds and shamanic astral travel. And astral travel is some serious, Scorpio as well as Aquarius energy. Symbology. 2 ravens with Odin, raven feathers, raven beaks, black birds. Status is of least concern. There's quite a few of them. I think I was in Seattle about a year ago, September, for a week or so, hanging out with my uncle, and I saw more ravens there than I've ever seen in my life. They were mad for some reason. I don't know if it was this time of season or like if there's just a lot of ravens up in the Pacific Northwest, but there was a shit ton of ravens, and it was fascinating seeing them, like swarms of them flying. So let's go ahead and get an art oracle card, and then I will jam, and a crystal card, I guess. But and then I will play my electric guitar today for Scorpio season. We're gonna play some blues probably with the 5 of Cups. So we've got Allegario Boetti. He's an Italian, I think. I'm presuming now. Yep, Italian. Died in 94. So whether stemming from intellectual scouring or simply low self-esteem, and the 5 of Cups is all about low self-esteem. The masks, we're talking about low self-esteem, right? And the scouring, that is this raven energy, finding, intellectual scouring. The conceptually driven work of Allegario Boetti always questioned states of originality and wholeness. He signed many of his works Allegario e Boetti, Allegario and Boetti, signaling his own duality. An ardent traveler, some of his most famous pieces are world maps that considered ever-changing geopolitics and the world's distribution of power. Power is a big deal to Scorpio. Quite frankly, 8th house is powerful transformation, powerful business transactions, that kind of stuff, sexual power. So the fact that power is coming up on our first day of Scorpio season, not terribly surprised. He collaborated, Moon in Aquarius, with embroiderers in countries such as Afghanistan and Pakistan, and his art purposefully muddled the order of lazy assumptions in language or geography, investigating new meaning and probing old habits, right? Fucking with taboos, basically, and set psychologies. Scorpio, Sun, and Mercury. It's like, how can I push people's mental bounds into understanding there's a lot more to the picture than meets the eye? There's secrets, and we can understand these secrets emotionally together. Moon in Aquarius. You guys gotta see where we're going with all this. The cards shout. They doth shout. It says, find clarity in clutter, right? So sometimes we might be emotionally overwhelmed. 5 of Cups. We might be overwhelmed in general with grief, with feeling hopeless, with not seeing a way out, with thinking politics, feeling disenchanted with reality. We can feel very disconnected right now emotionally, just and isolated with it being Scorpio season with a moon in Aquarius. We have to not, commit to the patterns of ourselves that are masks. Those are going to limit us. It's like a snakeskin or I almost said quesadilla, a cicada shell, right? Where like those hold for a while, but you got to birth and expand into new places. Birth and expand presuppositions. It's like, look, he's re-envisioning how countries and languages work and geographies and political kind of dramas, right? He's giving us a new perspective, bringing us news of what could be, right? So find clarity in the clutter. Right now with so many retrogrades, Mars, Chiron, Mercury, I believe there's another one. Where's my phone? I lost my phone. Oh, here it is. So we've got like 5 retrogrades right now. Mercury's in retrograde. Mars is in retrograde. Uranus and Taurus is in retrograde. Neptune and Pisces is in retrograde. The North Node is in retrograde. Fucking Chiron's in retrograde, I'm pretty sure. So we've got a whole lot of time to reassess what we're attaching to and how we're attaching to, the story, the drama we're telling ourselves, the masks we hold on to and identify with. Are they helpful or are they hurtful? They serve a function at some point, but are they allowing us to birth and expand, or are they holding us in constriction and staleness and death? And death is Pluto season, so we have to kind of die to be reborn, right? Birth and expansion. That is through the process of alchemy, which is very Plutonian, very Scorpionic. And this guy's a raven. I mean, this is very Halloween kind of vibes. 23 on the 23rd day, raven news. You're going to get some news today about how you've been playing yourself, and maybe you've been deluding yourself. Maybe you'll come to an epiphany about how you don't need certain things. That happened to me just last night. I won't go into too many details, but cups were spilled, right? And masks were removed. And I feel liberated and able to be birthed and expanded in a new way because I have new information, new news about the perspective. But obviously, find clarity in the clutter. Like you can have overwhelm, and it doesn't mean it's bad. Like right now, we might feel overwhelmed, right, Sharon? But like it's not bad. It's exactly where we need to be. And the moment we accept that, like Lieutenant Dan, we come into a higher power of birth and expansion. We don't say, woe is me, and oh my gosh, I'm going to barter for my old masks, and I'm going to do this, that, and the other. It's going to be very liberating, even though, like, a mother gives birth. It's a liberation process, but look how much blood, guts, pain, tears, fucking crying, agony, all that happens, right? We got the Shiva Lingam. So Scorpio is all about sexuality too, 8th house in a large way, sex. And of course, the Shiva Lingam comes out on Freya's day. Shiva Lingam, what it is, Shiva Lingams, also known as Benalingas, are phallus-shaped stones found in the bed of the Narmada River in India. In Hinduism, they can represent an embodiment of the god Shiva, destroyer of illusion and transformer. So what are we doing? We're getting news of a transformation, and destruction creates birth and expansion. You have to, take something, kill it, destroy it, take from the old, restore it. It's alchemy. See the point? We're destroying what? Illusions. The destroyer of illusions, the transformer of grief, ultimately, right? Finding clarity in the clutter of death and destruction. It's real. I mean, right now, the Western world is going through an apocalypse, and it's just how it is. Who needs it? Yoga people, people who hate yoga, everybody. Where to put it? Wherever you seek enlightenment, i.e. on the meditation cushions, concentrating on your breath, possibly chanting, and I do chakra chants. I highly suggest people do that. When to use it? When your ego has you feeling too small or totally supersized. When it seems like you're sucking life force through a swizzle stick instead of a boba straw. When you've got a baby making on your mind. Even the sexuality of Scorpio season. It says go all in on your essence. So in order to be the best we can be, go all in on our essence, we have to, 5 of Cups, grieve that which is no longer part of the process. Accept certain things. Different stages of grief and guilt, or grief and not guilt necessarily, but like there's bartering and like denial, all these levels, right? We have to kind of come to a place of accepting our true essence, going in on our true essence. That is her, not the mask. The masks are functional and necessary at times, but they do prohibit growth. Ultimately, we have to birth and expand beyond just phases, right? The full moon comes because the new moon happened and the new moon got to the full moon. You see what I mean? It's like it's all good. We're gonna get news today. Maybe have an epiphany. With Moon in Aquarius, we could have emotional epiphanies about secrets in ourselves, secrets of the world, Sun in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, right? That are going to bring value to our health and to our embodiment and healing, Virgo and Venus. Find clarity in the clutter. So even if it's a bunch of fucking static on the wire and all these mixed messages and all this craziness and it's overwhelming and you feel like just giving up, don't, because you're going to find your truth, the news, this epiphany, in the clutter, and you can go all in on your essence. You are a spirit in a spiritual being having a physical experience, is illuminated, and it's awesome and beautifully designed and fractally holographic dopeness as this 3D reality is. It's not the whole fucking story, so don't get stuck on this. Don't also disappear into fantasy and just projections like, oh, one day when I go back to my starship, or all this kind of stuff, or heaven, oh my gosh. It's like, yes, have hope for that. The hope is not gone, right? 5 of Cups, but at the same time, be here now, be present, be using your memory and your insights, the birds, the raven, to gather news about what? The present moment. Although that was showing Odin in the present moment, scouring other dimensions. You see my point? It's both and. You're here now, be here now, be here now in multiple dimensional ways, right? That's kind of what I'm getting at. Let's go ahead and play some music. Just dropped stuff. Mercury retrograde, for sure. Let me set up a thing, because I totally spaced on it. And let me have a sip of my tea. Nothing like black tea in the morning. I used to work at Starbucks in Waikiki and in Colorado, other places. And they used to give us a pound of coffee a week for free. I don't really drink coffee anymore. I drink tea more, but it's a cold day. I was up late. And I could use the coffee, tea, caffeine situation. I'm going to vote soon. Mail-in vote. I'm voting third party. I don't care what you guys do. If you guys want to play the Biden-Trump game, go for it. I'm voting Green Party again. I did last time. I will this time too, because I want to see change, real change in these systems, and not just play ping pong between two teams forever and ever. All right, so let's go ahead and jam. We have the Five of Cups, which is about, it's very bluesy. It's like grief, overwhelm, emotional issues, to the degree where it might feel like the world is ending and woe is me, and if I just have this, I'll do that. A lot of bartering, not accepting. So, and with the two fives, Five of Cups and Five of Air as the clarifier, maybe I'll play in 5-8. I don't even know. I had never played in 5, so maybe I could. Play a blues in 5. Is that what I do? I'm thinking there's a Take 5 or some song by that's in 5. overwhelming emotionally. A little woe is me, a little why is this happening, but we have the chance with the other cards. Let me get my thing that just fell. We have the chance to, quite frankly, rise above victim mentalities, right? To the point where we actually learn the lesson. Hopefully this stays, Jesus. So we got the Five of Cups. It can be very overwhelming. We can be dealing with grief, with denial, with frustration, with masks. How are we deluding ourselves? What have we been attached to? Is it prohibiting our growth and expansion? The mask served a reality at one point that helped, but are we just staying stuck in the past and saying, I want this mask, and it's not who we are anymore? We have to birth and expand and be willing to go into new places. And we do that through our senses, getting new input, new data, stay open-hearted, open-minded, to the degree where you can actually be willing to get clarity from the clutter, the chaos, right? The confusion all around us. Go all in your essence with the Shiva Lingam. We have the ability to cry fully. Let it all out. That's an eyeball. Crying. It's like, let the blues out. The blues is a mask. Wear it fully and then take it off to birth and expand into a new place where potential comes in through your senses and your awareness into new lands, news. You get new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of being. Through the chaos, you get the message. You find the clarity in that chaos, and you go all in on who you really are, the Shiva thing, right? So, hopefully, yeah, Haley, I see your comment. Not always do I. Shout out to Haley. She's the goddamn best thing ever happened to me, and I love her, and I will love her forever. She's the shit. I love her. I can't believe she's willing to be my wife. So, yeah, no podcast today. I think the next one we're having is with Christopher Witecki. He's the mentor or whatever of Leo King and Mike the Peace Dealer. Many people actually. He's in Denver, so that should be good. I forget who the other guest is, but that's Sunday, so no podcast today. Maybe some snow for me. Try to stay warm, try to stay positive, let it all out, grieve, be real with yourself, and don't hide under masks any longer that no longer serve you. They served a point, and thank them and let them go. It's kind of where we're at with it. So hopefully that makes sense. Holler for readings if you want. I've only got 5 stars. We got the 2 5 cards. I only have perfect reviews essentially. So hit me up for readings if you want. I can deliver them if you want them, and ultimately check out the podcast too, because I think you'll dig it. Have a good day, Freya's day. Hopefully your weekend is good, and don't let the politics or all this shit bring you down. This too shall pass, and it is a beautiful birthing process we have chosen to be a part of collectively and individually. Adios.